Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, everybody. So let's just take a deep breath and show up. Let yourself just slow down to meet this moment. As I come to a stop, there's just this rush of clean power that flows through the body. The irony is to have that experience. You have to let go of all the things you're doing to try and experience more power. A charged peace that just wells up from the depths. But to experience, you have to drop the part of yourself that is insisting everything be peaceful. But that moment is the meditative state. You call off the search. You stop racing forwards and looking backwards. And you just open up to this moment right now. No concerns about how you're going to sustain it. It's just one breath at a time. that power you feel, it isn't my power. It's just that in an instant, you've removed yourself from a whole set of stories, overt stories and covert stories. And so all your power that was trapped in those stories comes back to you. It feels like it's coming from some divine source. Mostly because it's a reflection of your completeness. And because everything, good and bad, comes from a divine source. That intelligent, resonant power that gets lost in the stories is divinity. It's divinity lost in the story, and it's divinity when it's returned to your completion. Let's sit with that for a little while. Nothing to think about. Just slow yourself down to this moment. And be with the power that is here. If you lose that place of stopping, you have to slow yourself down. You can tell when you've lost it by the arrangement of power in your body. From this place, you can move in any direction. You know, over the years, there's always been kind of a gentle pressure to hand you more dogma. It comes and goes. And I did more of that early on. You know, I grew out of it because I realized that that's just not what was missing. You have a million sources for dogma, for belief systems. You know, if I work one-on-one with someone, I'll work with their belief systems, but in general, handing you sets of rules and beliefs is not what you need. You can find those in your religions. What you need is for someone to teach you how to pull yourself out of that dogma and be with what's real. Not so that you can abandon it, but so that you can enter back into it with your eyes open at will. All of your beliefs whether they're a religion, a moral code, philosophy, or just a way of moving through life. They're all a container for your consciousness. You take them on, behave accordingly, think accordingly, feel accordingly. And it alters your impact on life, and it alters how life responds to you. It's like shining a light through a prism and just noticing what kind of colors that makes. But if you can't also step out of it, if you can't also step out of that container, then your time in that container isn't really awake. You actually get trapped in it. So over the years, there's always been this kind of pressure to build a container for you to fit into or identify with. But instead, what we do is we teach you how to pull out of that container. Into that place where you can actually feel the power building back up in your body. Where the dynamics of that container are no longer at play. Nothing wrong with a container like a religion. It's a way better plan than just whatever random mess we put together between the ages of 1 and 5. Because that's also a dogma. A series of beliefs, ways of being, that filters the light of our power, our intelligent, resonant consciousness. When you enter those things without really keeping your eyes open, you enter in, your power filters through it, and you have the resulting experience. And that experience validates the filter. But for some people, that one experience gets them stuck in that filter. You know, my husband spent his life on a spiritual path when he was younger. And he was very given to it. And, you know, had his experiences with God. And so it was validated for him. But there was no place for who he was, you know. They were not going to accept a gay man, which is what he was growing into. had always been, but was coming to understand he wasn't going to be able to escape it. But without your eyes open in that scenario, you realize, oh, so it's either God with all the other stuff of the filter that isn't going to work or be a good fit for me or my life, or a godless life as a gay man. You know, you watch a person spend years trying to heal from a belief like that. But then there's those of us who pull out of that filter and just sit with what's real. Not to stay away from the stories of life forever. It's not a rejection. It's what puts you in a wakeful space that allows you to actually enter many different filters. Enter many different systems of dogma. To really give yourself to them and see what's there. What does that reflection of a religious divine experience look like? What is there to learn from it? What's the cause and effect of that? There are a million different ways to be in this world. You know, you start to understand people. You watch them and you just let yourself get sucked into their filter and you actually get an experience of being them. It yields more compassion, a deeper understanding of how life works. Finding the divine experience through many different religions gives you a very good idea of how divinity works. Doesn't mean you can't pick your path. There will always be one that resonates more with you. But when you enter it, your eyes are open. You take the shape. And in the moment when those shapes are not going to yield something valuable to life, you can step out of that and just be in a space of reality. So that's why I don't turn this into a path and I don't turn this into a dogma. I let go of that somewhere along the line. You have a million opportunities for that. But not many people are showing you how to actually be free so that you can explore those safely. It actually has a million uses. You know, I used to use it in massage school, so I was a massage therapist for 15 years. And I remember getting very good at it very quickly, and the way I did that was I would literally stand behind massage therapists, you know, teachers of mine while they were doing demonstrations, and I would just step into their filters. I'd move like them, I'd breathe like them, and I could actually feel what it was like to be them, what it was like to actually do what they were doing at a physical and energetic level. You do this too. You do it every time you have a conversation. You know, the more two people are doing it, the deeper that conversation is. But you get into each other's filters and you get to kind of see more and more of what that experience of that person is. And then if you're healthy, you step out of that and go your own way. But when you're stuck in a filter, when you're stuck in a system of beliefs, whether it's something very organized or just the chaos that built around your day, the road out of them is simple. You just have to stop. Just like we show you every week. Slow yourself down. Slow yourself down to the speed of this moment. And let it all come to a stop. And you'll know you're there because of the rush of power you'll feel at the center of your being as all the energy that was stuck in that filter returns to you. I can create a safe space for you to do that, but it's an experience you have to give yourself. And what you'll find is the more that you do it, the more you can do it. It builds up stations for itself in your nervous system. And it gets to a point where the second you shift your attention, you just go into that meditative state. It isn't even gradual. In a class like this, it'll feel gradual because you'll be feeling the people who haven't built that up in their nervous system yet, slowly finding their way to it. But even that's fine. It takes like 15 minutes. But this is what I want you noticing in your life this week. We're going to sit with it for a while. But this week, I want you to notice the difference between that stopped place where everything is just open, charged, and flowing. Energy in its full potential before the ball starts rolling down the hill. I want you to notice the difference between that and the moments where your energy is filling a filter. A belief about life, a belief about you. Some aspect of knowledge, what you think you know about your day or your life or another person. When you're not picking your religion carefully, that's your religion. That's your set of beliefs. Quiet and insidious, but persistent. And so I want you to start noticing the difference. Okay. Let's go back into the silence. Slow yourself way down. Nowhere to arrive, nothing to achieve. Just let it all stop. from this space. I want you to pick something from your day. Something you have a strong opinion about. Something you know you're right about. A dogma from your day. A system of belief. And I want you to enter into that filter. Go ahead and pull the thread. Let yourself think. Think your way into it. A work situation, a spouse situation, whatever you got. Look through the lens of that filter. Feel your energy radiating through that filter as it modulates the feeling of you. Not quite the same when you do it consciously, is it? But do it anyways. I can see you stepping down the power. Now, as easily as you've entered it, let go. In an instant, shift right out of it. With a breath, let it all come to a stop and free yourself from that filter. Few of you are still hanging on to a piece of it. What if you really just let it go? So the energy can really just open back up. Use your senses to take in this moment. The room, the sounds. through your personal stories in this life without getting trapped in them. Can you step down into them without falling asleep to the fact that they are not what you are, but just something you're inhabiting? Something that you're enlivening with consciousness. If you can do that, then you have an amazing power. But to the extent that you can't or won't do that, you are overpowered. Your personal power is usurped by some program floating on the surface of life. Or worse, people who know how to use those stories to manipulate will be able to suck your energy in and use it to their own end. No shortage of that these days. It's the heart of politics. But that fundamental distinction is the distinction. It's the difference between stepping into your power and living your freedom versus just living out whatever system you've gotten yourself stuck in. And while every story has cycles that sometimes, need to go for many years, that doesn't stop you from being able to lift right out of it. You can be raising a child, but remove yourself from mother. And step back into it with clarity when you're done. Are there any questions about any of that? You guys are just a sea of stillness right now. It's kind of nice. Give yourself this gift. Nothing in life is going to ask it of you, so you have to just give it to yourself. When you wake up in the morning, first thing is to get your head on straight. If you can meditate, great. I've never been one of those people that just wakes up and goes to a meditation cushion. But that doesn't mean you can't wake up and remember what your life is about. If you wake up covered in people's stories, or all of your own personal roles are stimulated, then before you get out of bed, just take 10 breaths where you do what we do every week here. Slow yourself down. Slow yourself down. And just find that place of stopping. And let that be your starting point for the day. And notice whenever you step away from that to enter a filter. Nothing to prevent. It's okay. You're here to build on stories. Those stories are there to show you where all your stuck points are. But you have to keep your eyes open while you're in them. Notice the shift and give yourself breaks from them so that you can stay awake. All right, guys. If there are no questions, I think I'm going to let you get back to your night. And I'll see you on Thursday next week. Thanks, everybody.